Every night, we work to bring you stories that touch your heart, stories from people in your community that inspire you. We found all of that embodied in the life of Collins Dixon. We've been following his story for weeks now. Matt Pearl has a look at the lasting legacy of one very courageous little boy.
There's my hero right there.
This was Collins Dixon 2 months ago. The 12-year-old who played football and basketball.
What's your best shot?
Three-pointer.
And had seemingly beaten brain cancer.
My tumor is shrinking.
This was Collins Dixon 1 week ago. Unable to talk, barely able to move, a week away from passing on.
His smile. I miss his smile more than anything, and that's what warms your heart.
We told Collins' story in November, how he had been a prayer warrior for a family friend dealing with his own bout with brain cancer, how Collins had then been diagnosed with a tumor himself and fought through it to become the vibrant middle schooler who showed up in our story. But right around Thanksgiving, the tumor that had been shrinking essentially went in reverse. After a heavy chemo treatment didn't work, the Dixons were told Collins' tumor was inoperable. He had weeks, maybe days, to live.
He had 4 really good months, and now the nurses and the doctors tell us, you know, it's amazing that he is not in any more pain than he is.
I'm so glad you had a good time at your game.
Instead, Collins' final weeks have been about joy. School principals and church groups in Canton arranged for Collins to see his beloved Georgia Bulldogs in the Outback Bowl. An ambulance even took him down to Tampa.
And you could tell that inside he was full of joy because he always wanted to be a Bulldog. And that was his chance to be a Bulldog.
And in his final days, when he could hardly move, it was Collins who inspired the community. This courageous boy who had to be in such pain, but showed nothing but positivity and peace.
Collins was able to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. He was able to let us know that he was okay.
Can we get a thumbs up, Collins?
There you go.
Collins Dixon passed away Saturday afternoon. At Monday's funeral service, the sheriff's cars displayed Bulldog flags. The crowd totaled in the hundreds.
Collins and his family have had a continuous mindset of what they could do for others.
And for all those who got one final glimpse of Collins Dixon, it's fitting that this boy who by the end couldn't talk still had the last word.
He had a very simple medallion that was on his casket that said, "May the work that I have done speak for me."
That story is so gripping, so painful, and yet so powerful at the same time, and it really forces you to put life into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, Brenda, and you know, I've done several stories on people, and especially children, that have gone through this kind of adversity, and what was particularly touching about Collins was just the final visit that I had with him last week, and you saw some of the video in the story there, but what really stood out to me was that here was this child who had to be in such pain, and yet he had a certain calm about him. He had his family with him, and they knew the end was near, and they were taking advantage of every second they had.
Yeah, you don't have to be an old person to exhibit strength, and certainly Collins did that. And I don't know, personally, how did it affect you to be sitting there, to have been a part of his journey? Because you did the story back with him in November, and you saw the strength of a little boy who really had so much to live for.
That's right, and it was a shock to me to hear that this boy that was so active in November had become had such a difficult journey in the last couple of months. So it was very tough to watch him go, but again, you look at all the people he inspired, and I think ultimately that's what you want to take away if you want a positive from this, is just that this little boy really did have an impact on a community and hopefully beyond.
Yeah, and what a gift for you, because you were able to share his story with so many other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks.